And I'm back. Let's see. Okay, I'll give you guys a second to like arrive. But it's all working now. We solved the problem. And I centered myself in the camera while I was at it. So that was great. Now we just wait. I'm like really... What the fuck? What is this? Oh, ingrown hair or something. We'll do 30 more seconds and then we'll hop into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 29. I will wait until I see a single message in the chat. Okay. Excellent. We've solved the issue that I've solved many times. You know what I should do is just buy a new fucking interface, because the driver on that one corrupts like once a month. Okay, let's listen to Multifox's song finally, Lingering Anger. I feel like I have lingering anger, but I don't know if it's lingering. I feel like it's just like it's forthcoming. I love this so far. It's very good so far. I don't know how you'd ever use a TI-84 to EQ. That seems impossible. So far, I think this sounds pretty good. I think you did a great job at taking it from, I can't remember what my exact notes were on it last time, but I feel like it might have been that there were two. I'm trying to find the file, like the last time you sent this in. I think it was called something else. Anyway, I feel like my notes last time were that it felt too incohesive, like there were too many. Oh, here we go. Here's the last one you sent in. Like the ideas in the song were too disconnected or something. Generic first draw. Okay, let's listen to what you sent before. Yes, gotcha. Now you've incorporated the idea of the song into the drop a bit more, like the part of the drop feels like it's part of the song. I think that's cool. I think that makes the track feel more like a song and less like a track, if that makes sense. So I think you did a good job there. Aiden said it needs to be mastered to the max. I mean, it seems pretty loud to me. Like maybe you could push it a little bit harder, but honestly, it sounds pretty good. I honestly think like what it might be missing is that like that Overkill song where like there's like a screaming vocal or something, you know, right before the drop, as cliche as that may be. I think that may really drive like the idea home. I don't know what the word should be, but yeah, I mean, like in terms of LUFS and RMS and stuff like that, I don't really ever look at those numbers. I think you just kind of like go until it starts to sound too loud, and then you back it off a bit, and then I don't know. I just don't really subscribe to the whole like using a number to define how loud something should be. And maybe that's not good, maybe that's not right, but to me it's more about how does it sound and feel, and not necessarily, you know, because like if you show somebody and they're like, dude, this sounds like shit, and then you like whip out like a piece, like a screenshot, and you're like, yeah, but look, it's like this number, like that's not going to change their opinion on the track. Yeah, it's like it's a little louder. It's a little louder on the last version you sent in if I go back and forth. So this is the old version. So I mean, maybe split the difference. I kind of feel like maybe the last version you sent in was pushed a little too hard, but I do really hear the difference in volume in the drums. Like if you listen specifically to like the snare drum. So maybe somewhere in between those two is the happy medium. But I like what you did with the drops where you incorporated the guitar riff, and now it just feels more cohesive, like a piece of music. But I do really think you should at least contemplate and consider having some sort of like vocal thing, because it kind of feels like it's missing it to me. But I really like when there's vocal things in tracks, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Overall, though, I think you did a great job. I think you solved whatever my concerns were last time, and maybe just make it a little bit louder. I wouldn't go too overboard. I wouldn't get too obsessed with the numbers or anything like that, but I do think that you maybe turn specifically your drums, like your snare drum, just kind of... Get a microphone and scream into it. Use your phone and scream into it, and then fuck with it. I don't know. You know, you have vocal cord. Hey, I shouldn't assume. You may have been born without vocal cords, but most likely you have vocal cords, and you could abuse them for the purpose of this song. Yeah, okay, that's what I think. I think you did good. Oh God, no, you don't want to hear that. You can always edit your way into greatness. That's kind of bad advice, but all right, let's move on. Purple, misspelled, of course. And I can get behind that. My name is misspelled as well. Baby Gnarly Waves Mix. Baby.
I don't mind being honest. I kinda like spending my time
This is cool, but I feel like it was maybe accidentally rendered in mono because it's dead mono. This is really cool, but why is it mono? Did I do that? I need to like make sure that I didn't fuck something up here. I don't think I did though. Let's just load this back in for a sec. No. Yeah. Okay, well we're gonna put a pin in that. Like obviously we shouldn't be 100% mono. I like the sound of the clap, and it's kind of hard to listen through the fact that it's dead mono, but I feel like the clap needs to be a bit louder because I like the kind of the simple sound of it, but it's really not cutting through the mix. I don't know if I agree, Aiden. I think I would have to hear it in stereo to know if it was over the top, but that didn't stick out to me at least. Yeah, okay, we're gonna move on. We'll come back. Gnarly Waves just responded and said that they forgot to turn a knob or whatever. It might sound fine on your speakers, but I'm listening in my earbuds. You mean it might sound fine on my speakers that I've listened to about 20,000 hours of music on? Yeah, it does, besides the mono thing. All right, let's move on. This one's called Colorful by Swiss Cheese. Just DM me on Discord, then I'll try to deal with it before I leave. I love this, but I'm waiting to see if there's a melody. Okay. So there is a melody. It's it's more than what we usually get from Cheese's tracks. So that should be acknowledged, and I am acknowledging that. I like the melody, but it's so mixed lightly. It's like he went, "Hey guys, is this a melody? Is this a melody?" It's a good melody. But it's mixed in a way that it's not mixed like it's the melody. It's mixed like it's a background element. So my feedback is largely the same as it usually is, but it's a little different this time because now you've written a melody and you did a good job. The melody's good, but put it in our face, and maybe introduce it sooner than maybe introduce it in the intro, right? Bring it in. It feels like it's being mixed. What's the word? In when I'm self-conscious, when I'm not confident. What is the word? What is the word? Come on, it's such an easy word. Insecure. Wow, I could not think of that word. I'm very insecure about my vocabulary. Yeah, the mix feels insecure when it comes to the melody, but at least there's a melody. So that is definitely a step forward for Cheese, and I would like to applaud that. The chords and the groove, they're always great. The chord progression's always wonderful. The arpeggio, the vibe, the atmosphere, that stuff's always good with Cheese's stuff. So that's still the same in this. But the melody needs to be more of, hey guys, here's a melody. Check this fucking melody out. I like it. I don't care if you like it. Like, that needs to be the mix approach. Bring it in the intro. Like, you could have like this as the intro, and you could bring in the melody there, and maybe it's like filtered in a way if you want to, like, introduce it and then hit us with it when it gets to here. Or maybe you introduce it in the intro and it goes away and is replaced by something else in the drop, and then it comes back halfway through the like here. But either way, you got to dry it out a bit. Like, don't hide it underneath a big wall of reverb and push it way back in the mix. I think you should be proud of the melody that you wrote, and you should mix it as though you were proud of the melody that you wrote. That's it. Keep going. Make the melody louder. Use it more prominently. Okay. 10 Toe 2, Look at the Horizon Beneath Us. That sounds like some like crazy indie movie title. And let's see, I almost said Gnarly. Gnarly Wave sent in a new version, so I'm going to grab that while we listen to this. So it's funny because it not only does the title sound like an indie movie, but the music sounds like a score for an indie movie. So that's kind of fitting. Uh, I think it's beautiful. I think musically it's great. I think that the instruments that you are using, specifically the strings, when they came in, I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a like your uncle's keyboard that has a string preset on it." Like it's not convincingly strings. It sounds like synthesized strings trying to masquerade as real strings. I think, I mean, like, you could just take the MIDI and find like a better instrument to play those notes on that would achieve the same idea, whether it's like a contact string instrument that's just a better sounding string instrument, or maybe it's a synth that's kind of doing like a sustained pad, sort of something like that. Um, I I think that that is the biggest thing that I'm hearing, and then also when it gets into like the big section, if I hit the right button. I'm hearing some compression. I'm hearing some, like, a compressor that's not happy with what's being done to it. So, I think you're kinda when you go to this big swell kind of, it doesn't have to be that loud, like, this track is kind of, it's a bit of a conceptual piece, it's not like your typical song per se. It feels more atmospheric and soundtrack-ish. So, I would just chill out on all of the compression, as you're getting towards the end, you can really start to hear things being like, you can feel things like struggling to breathe. You know what I mean? Like, when the da 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 da, like the piano thing, and you can hear kind of like the bass kind of reacting to it, and you can hear other elements reacting to it. So that's typically what you hear when things are over compressed, is you'll hear elements that are unrelated reacting to each other. So sometimes you want that, because that's literally what side chaining is. You're having a bass sound which is unrelated to the kick drum, and it's being compressed by the kick drum. That's side chaining. But in this situation, we have like maybe one or more elements are too loud, and they're all going into a common compressor. It might be in the master bus, it might be in a bus before the master bus, but there's some place where multiple elements that are kind of unrelated elements converge and go through a single compressor, and you're getting kind of unwanted, almost like crosstalk, like unwanted interactions between those two elements. So I would relax on trying to make it that loud during this part. I think sonically it's going to sound more loud, just because of what's happening in the track, even if like the compression isn't giving it that like level of amplitude. I just said amplitude because I didn't want to say loud again, because I realized that I had said it too many times. Anyway, so yeah, I think those are my two things. Maybe play around with some different instruments. The piano, to me, also, I'm not in love with the sound of it. It's just, I think it's probably because you're kind of playing the notes at full velocity, but I don't know if I love the individual piano plugin that you're using. So it's really, the strings to me sound a little too fake, and the piano sounds maybe a little too fake, but the strings to me are the thing to switch out first, and then just relax on the compression, and then go to Silver Wave or Toronto Film TIFF Festival with it, because it sounds like it belongs in a movie where, I don't know, maybe there's like two astronauts falling in love, and one of them has to go to Mars and the other one is allergic to Mars, so they can't go, or something. Okay, that's what I think. Good job. Very beautiful. Next, we got Aiden Dodge and Swiss Cheese. Only one. First one of our collabs submitted here. Okay, let's hear. Show me the side I've been searching for so long. Oh, and I realized I accidentally skipped the Gnarly Wave remix. I'll do that one after this. Show me the side I've been searching for so long. You know me better than I know where I myself belong. You take away the pain I feel in my soul, 'cause when I am with you is when I like this. I like this a lot. I find that Aiden's voice is getting drowned out in this section. Like it's the volume of other things are too loud and I'm not really hearing the vocals cut through the mix very well. They're very kind of reverbed out and stuff, which is also it's contributing to like pushing it deeper in the mix because everything else is also kind of reverby and atmospheric. So the vocals aren't really cutting through sharply. You could either kind of reduce the volume of like the other elements that are, let me listen to specific which ones. I can see the anguish burning on inside you too. So I give my yeah, like if I listen to it, I feel like the hi-hat is louder than the vocals and you are the only one for me. I wanna hold you closely, a feeling that is so sweet. Just take my hand and you will see. I'll make you feel so holy. I can set you so free. Yeah, I don't mind the performance of the vocals. I think I don't know who's doing the mix on the vocals, but I'd probably dry them out a bit. I'd dry them out a bit. I'd be careful in the kind of the pain area up there, you know, the like. Also, when that arpeggio thing comes in, it basically it does this to the vocals. Like it just like pushes them out of the way. And kind of generally speaking, the mix just feels a bit messy to me. There's a lot of reverb happening. And I think it's all adding up. I think it'd be interesting to try taking all of the reverb in the whole track, like every single instance of a reverb plugin and turning it off and listening to it and see what it sounds like. Because I'm not saying you shouldn't use any reverb, or I'm not saying you shouldn't use a lot of reverb sometimes, but in this situation, there's a lot of elements that are just bleeding over top of each other because you kind of have like this big reverb on most of the things. The other thing is the kick is kind of overwhelming and very dull. And I don't know about that arpeggio. I don't know if I love the arpeggio. To me, it sounds more like it should be used as an accent, you know, dun 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 ba-dum 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 dun dun dun. You know, like it almost feels like maybe you should come up with a different element that's doing most of the heavy lifting, and then you I'm not going to click that link, Will. I think you should come up with another element that does most of the heavy lifting, and then the arpeggio is maybe a response to that. Because I don't know if I love it enough for it to be like the main thing that's happening in the track. I kind of want to click that link, but I don't even know how, like technically speaking, to click that link. So we're not going to know what it is. Yeah, I think, am I okay with just never knowing? Well, now that you put it that way, I kind of am not okay with not knowing. Fuck. Yeah, I think the track needs to be tidied up. I think we could sum up everything I just said in like it needs to be tidied up. Everything's too loose and sloppy. Like that hi-hat is massive. I don't necessarily mind how loud it is in this section because there's no vocals, but I'm assuming there's gonna be vocals here. And when that hi-hat kicks in, the vocals are just like are underneath it big time. I do like this M1 kind of bass sound though. But there's some rumbly action happening in the bottom end. There's some incongruence in the bass. I don't know if that's even a word that people ever use, but I used it just now. Like right here, it almost sounds like It sounds like there's two different notes. I'm pretty sure there's a wrong note there. Right on that upbeat, listen, right when it gets here. Same here. It's like you can hear like the ringing. So I'd go through and make sure all your bass notes are agreeing. I don't think it's a distortion. I think you have a wrong note in there.
'Cause you are the only one for me. I wanna hold you closely. A feeling that is so sweet. Just take my hand and you will see. I'll make you feel so holy. I can set your soul free.
And I think we're a bit aggressive on the master. I mean, like right here, we don't even have drums, but we are like bricked up, you know? We're bricked up on a Friday afternoon, which that's fine, I guess, but in the context of this song, I think it's just a bit over the top, specifically the arpeggio. Yeah, it just everything feels like it's just trying too hard to be as loud as possible. I do like the groove, I like the chords, I like the vocals. There's a lot of good stuff happening, but to me, there's too much reverb, and some of the elements are just too loud, and I do firmly believe that there's a couple of wrong notes in places. It may be, is there any sort of gliding happening? Because sometimes you can have two, you know, like you're sliding from one note to another on two different synths, but your glide rate is different. So in between slide, I don't think it was a slide though. Can I just like, oh, I forget how to use this software. How do I get off the grid? Oh, there we go. Hear what I mean? Like the bottom end is just like, versus maybe let's do this here instead. See, it's na 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 na. It's playing a note, whereas this one's playing a rumble. So I'd look into those things, and like I said, turn off all your reverb, see what it sounds like. Turn down. Don't try to be turn down for what? Don't try to be louder than you need to be. And I think you're being louder than you need to be for this track, especially at this playing. It's playing 30-second notes. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, cool. I like it overall. Check those things out, see what you do. Okay, let's now listen to the full stereo version of this song. Now in stereo.
I don't mind being honest. I kinda like spending my time. Kinda like.
Is that me or is that? I think there may be another problem with your render.
Kinda like.
What is this?
Kinda like spending my.
I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm pretty sure that's in the render, not in my sound card. Although I wouldn't be surprised.
Feel it too, 'cause you show me signs you want me and mutually. I feel it in my body like chemically. It's hard to find someone with your energy. When I'm with you, I need you like this could be my.
Okay, so I still like the tremolo. I don't mind the tremolo as it is. Although I do think that your swoosh sound at the start of the drop is a bit aggressive. Like the white noise is nice, but I believe that it is too loud because it's kind of overbearing. And then I still think that the clap is too quiet. Like I like the character of the clap, but it's very tiny and minuscule. And it's okay to be tiny and minuscule kind of in its length. That's what gives it that character, that quick little but I think it should come up. I think generally speaking, your top drums should come up, because right now it almost sounds like we're mostly just hearing the kick drum for the drums. Oh, okay. Well, you got a hi-hat there. Like the clap almost fades in with the tremoloed vocal thing. So I would have your drums better represented in the higher frequency range. So like your clap, your mid range, your clap, your hats, your percussion. I'm sure there's some hats and stuff in there at that moment, but it's quite quiet. So, and even when that hi-hat comes in, it's still quite quiet. I mean, like the whole drop section, it sounds like kick drum, tremoloed vocals, and bass. And I don't know. I think that if you just maybe bust together all of your top drums and all your percussion stuff that's not kick or like cymbals and effects, and you bust them together and you kind of compress them and then like bring them up in the mix, because you could treat them individually. You could do that too. But I find it when you have like a bunch of, like the top drum stuff, if you put them all to a bus and you squanch them together and you compress them so that the dynamic range isn't all over the place, that allows you to more easily place them in the mix. Because I think there's like two main reasons for compression. I guess three if you count sidechain. One is to make things loud, but the other thing is to make it easier to place elements in the track, because it's not a moving target. And I've said this many times, but when you have something with a lot of dynamic range, it's harder to fit that in the track, because you might turn it up and certain elements or certain moments of that track might be loud enough, but other parts might be too quiet. So if you compress it and you reduce the dynamic range, and then you can more easily and more like surgically, precisely place it in the mix. So I'd take your top drums, compress them in a bus, and then turn them up a bit.
To always try to see my point of view by the sign we got it. It's in your eyes and I know I'll see it through.
I'd maybe have like a low impact or something at that moment. And like, I can kind of see what Aiden was saying about how the tremolo is maybe over the top or a bit too much, but maybe, but also maybe it's just the fact that a lot of the elements just are too quiet. So we're really only hearing the tremolo, like the tremolo vocal is almost like way louder than everything else. So bringing the top drums and percussion, I don't know why I always have a hard time saying percussion. Bringing the percussion and stuff up, I think will level that out a bit. I think it'll fill in the gaps between the of the tremolo. And then you're probably gonna have to like figure out the arrangement, because I don't think it should end there. Like you're like 2 minute. This is like a 2-minute song, right? And maybe that's okay. But to me, I'd keep it rocking a little bit longer and then have an outro. All right, thank you for sending. Much better in stereo. Dimension 6 whip. So this arpeggio, the square wave arpeggio, I feel like it's a little too plain Jane. I think maybe if you had, instead of a pure, I don't know, is there any PWM action? Maybe if it had like a PWM or a sync or something that was like, you know, like the PWM, like almost chiptune-y kind of thing, it would just make it a little bit more interesting. Because right now it just sounds like a static square wave playing notes. Will, why do you keep sending YouTube videos? I can't click them. I don't like that. Well, you know, I can just like go back in the chat like after, right? And look at the YouTube videos. I probably won't, but I could. Okay, the other thing with this is like, I feel like we've been building up forever, but I don't feel the anticipation growing in my bones. You know, I don't feel my blood starting to boil. I don't feel the desire for the drop. And I think it's mostly because it kind of does this, like, yeah, I agree that I mean, like, we don't need that big space at the top. You need like 0.1 dB of headroom is what I would recommend. But anyway, like energy level, we go, ooh, and then we just kind of like sit here. And then it actually drops down and then it goes up and it might be a little bit more than it was before, but I'm not really feeling like like I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling as though we're moving towards something. I'm feeling like we're lingering in the doo-doo-doo-dee. So you could maybe cut this here, take this, why am I doing it in fucking the snipping tool? I could do it here. Let's see what the tempo is. Put this here. Oopsies. So 100. Okay, so it seems like it's 100 beats per minute. You maybe do this. That might be a bit of too aggressive of a jump. I was just trying to get rid of like this this little like dip. I don't know if I love it. Because to me, it feels like we are building towards something. And then when you do this little dippity doo-dah day, it feels like we've reset the energy. It feels like we lost our momentum and we got to start building the momentum up again. You know what I mean? Maybe I can do this. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Actually, this might be good like this. Yeah, I think that's a way better. I mean, like, obviously you might want to smooth that out and have like a swoosh and a hit and a and all that shit. But like arrangement wise, this is way more exciting to me. You basically, you're using this section right here to introduce the do-do-do-dee and the chord progression and whatnot. That's what that purpose is for this. Then, now that you've established the chord progression, you've established the do-do-diddies, now it's more about like getting me amped up for like the next part. And I think jumping forward to this section makes more sense. Let's listen to it from here. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think that's a better arrangement. And you might want to play around with like more of the intro if you don't want to like drop at 43 seconds. But to me, that's more exciting and gets me more amped up. Now for the drop, I like But what I would do is when you do the bow. Oh, maybe you did. Did you cut the snare hard? Because I would probably, like the snare has the tail, but I'd cut the snail off so that, did I say snail? Cut the tail off of the snare when this bow thing happens. You might already be doing it. Wow, Eswin in chat. Crazy. Yeah, the snail. You cut the snail shorter. Okay, cool. So for the drop, I like what's happening in terms of the phrasing of the wubs, and I like the wub sound, but I find it's very scooped. I feel like there's a lot of high, there's a lot of low, but the mids are kind of underrepresented. And I'm not sure about the ride cymbal there. I'd drop without the ride cymbal. Fuck the ride cymbal. Maybe bring it in halfway through as a pickup. But like, I don't know. I find that the ride cymbal is doing two things. It's smoothing out kind of the sporadic chunkiness of the drop and not in a good way, kind of like it's like kind of blurring your chops. You know what I mean? It's like masking them a little bit. But also, it's contributing to this like hyped mid-range scooped feel because it's adding like a high frequency sound and it's not adding anything in the mid-range. So to me, the mix feels too almost like I have water in my ears, like there's like this like missing mid-range. And I don't think it's necessarily like a EQ thing that you should fix in the master. I think it's more on a track by track basis, almost like there's like too much OT. It almost sounds like the master's going through OTT or something. And maybe it is. And maybe you should turn the mix knob down on that if you are doing that. Eshwin. Let's keep going. Yeah, like maybe bring the ride in when you're doing the do-do-do-do-do's, you know, save the ride cymbal. Now, when you take the ride cymbal out, it might sound empty and you might need to do some more work, but it also might kind of sound cool. It might sound a bit more like chunky, where it's more about the kick, the snare, and the sound design, and then bringing in the ride cymbal when your do-do-do-do-do's come in. I really think you should take out the ride sample or the ride cymbals. I mean, you could maybe do crash cymbals there instead if you need something. But to me, ride cymbals, they add like a smoothness to things. I know it's not a jazzy kind of ride, but rides in general smooth things out. They're kind of, they add a smoothness. And I don't think that's what you want at your drop. I think that's maybe something you introduce halfway through the drop when you bring in other elements. It's a pickup. It feels like things are progressing, but right off the top, I don't know. I think it would be better without it. I'm also wondering about your monitoring situation. Because to me, it sounds like you're compensating for something that doesn't have a lot of high frequency response in it or something. Like to me, it feels too hyped in the top end, and like you're trying to get rid of some mid range, and maybe the monitoring situation is to blame for that sort of thing. But I do just think that it's a bit like harsh in the top end, and the mid range just ain't there. I think the drops are sick. I think you're doing what most producers do, where you focused, 85% of your efforts on the drops and everything else is kind of obligatory. Like, oh, I need the parts between the drops, I guess, So I try to fill out your mid-range a little bit. I'd get rid of the ride cymbal. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. And I'd maybe adjust the arrangement so that you get to the drop in a more predictable and exciting way. And then I would forget about after you kind of touch up your drops and whatever, just be like, okay, tonight I'm not working on the drops. I'm restricting myself to only working on the not drop sections. I'm not allowed to work on the drops. Just like stop. Just tell yourself you're not allowed to. And maybe like, maybe you have to flush like a $5 bill down the toilet every time you try to make an adjustment, or you give yourself some real accountability, and focus on the not drop parts, because if the not drop parts aren't good, then we're not going to even make it to the drop section. I'm going to skip the song. You got to keep that in mind. If somebody comes across this song somewhere, Spotify, YouTube, whatever, SoundCloud, Tidal, even if the drop is sick, they're not going to even know about it if they don't get there. So you got to put some more effort into the not drop sections. Yes, that is bold of me. I mean, you could do $1 too, but I don't know. $1 just seems too easy. Like if I had to flush $1 down the toilet so that I could work on the drop, I'd probably work on the drop and just flush $1 down. I think you got to step it up. All right, that's what I think. Good job. It's sick. The drop sections are cool. Like it's a very cool track. But yeah. Guys, I invited Fowler out tonight to party, and he ditched me after saying yes. Unreal. What 8 = uppercase D. Well, I already apologized for that. I double booked myself, and I'm really sorry. I had to go with chronologically who I said yes to first. Okay. Let's and I love you and I'm sorry. And I would really Tomorrow we will put the engine in the RX-7 and we will film ourselves doing it, and we'll laugh and it'll be great. We'll have fun and we'll get dirty and I'll probably hurt my finger. But it'll be good. It's just a drop. Okay, we'll take everything I said to the last guy and apply it to you. What the hell was that? Was that me or you? Is this a new technique that producers are doing? It's called Confusion House. I think this is sick. Musically, it's great. The mix is a bit rough on the kick and bass are like very, very loud, versus everything else. See what I mean? Like when I pull, how much did I pull out? 3.5 dB, probably once you take into consideration the little bit of compression that's happening. I pull 3.5 dB out of your bass range. I always loved, I don't know why, but I always think it's so neat how if you have like really loud kick and bass, like your sub range is very loud, what you can do is just turn it down and then you bring your limiter down at the same time and it stays the same volume, but what you're doing is actually just bringing up the volume of everything that's not the sub range. That I know it's not like magic, it's very logical, but it always blows me away that when I go between like what I did and what you did, the bass stays the same sound, same level, but the rest of the track all of a sudden is just comes to life because of the fact that I've added 8 dB of like limiting, you know what I mean? So I'd be careful with that. I also really like the it sounds like you have something that is sorry, I'm just undoing this before I forget. It sounds like you have something that's kind of breaking up with like bit depth, like a low bit depth. It's like the thing, the thing. Yeah, like right here. I wonder if there's any way to emphasize the fact that it's kind of breaking up like that, because it's almost too subtle. Like it's very subtly breaking up. The bit depth is like crunching it, but it's almost a little too subtle. I don't know. Maybe if like there wasn't a hi-hat during certain moments, so we just really hear the crunchiness of the bit depth shit. But overall, it's a sick track. I think it's a sick drop. So now you have to make it a track, which is, no small feat, but that's what I think. I think you did a great job. Moving on. Fresher, Overdrive. Let's go. This is really good. I really like this. The snare. I don't mind the sound of it, but it is very quiet in the mix. So I don't know if maybe like a bit of like aggressive room reverb that has a little bit of a pre-delay. So it's like punka, punka, like I don't know. There's just, to me, the snare is missing. It almost feels like it has no snare in this section. I mean, that's okay. That statement was incorrect. It sounds like there is a snare, but I like I don't know if it's quiet. I don't think it's quiet because I can see it. Like I'm pretty sure this is a snare. Yeah. I don't think quiet. I think short is the better terminology. I think that if it had like some sort of if it went ploink, it's a bit of a ploink snare, but if it went ploinky, ploinky, like there was like a weird reverb, like a creative reverb tail or something, it's just too short. And the rest of the track is so big. So I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I like the sound of the snare, but I would almost just play with some weird gated reverb or just give it some weird, almost like a Jack U kind of, it already sounds kind of like it's a Jack U snare anyway. Yeah, it's a bit plinky for sure. There's also moments like right here where I feel like you should maybe sidechain all your wubs and bass and stuff to the snare as well, because like listen to that snare that happens around the 22 mark. It just kind of gets lost underneath the things. When her voice comes in, I'd probably take a low pass and that big, like the big noisy bass, like maybe, so that the vocal can come through. Because when you have that big wall of like noisy, wubby, bassy bass, the vocals have a hard time cutting through the mix. So you could maybe be creative with the production and then the vocal can sneak in, you know? Especially because I'm assuming you're going to have another drop there. So you could almost treat this section from like here to here as a buildup, as opposed to like a continuation of the drop. So you could mute everything down. The vocals could come in and the vocals could be like the main part. So everybody's, in love with the vocals and everything. And then you build us back up and you hit us with more of the ploinky, schloinky stuff. But it's really cool. I really do like this drop. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that I'm focusing in on the snare. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's a bad snare or a bad mix on the snare. I would like to hear more of the snare, and not loudness wise, but just like time wise. So that's why my brain immediately goes to like a tunk-ung, and the second gong is like the room reverb that's like shunk-ung, and maybe it's pre-delayed by like an eighth note or something, so it's like a sunk-ung. It's got a bit of rhythm to it. I just think you could do better on the snare. And then when that other snare comes in, I feel like it's like too loud. Yeah, I think that snare is maybe a little too loud. It feels like it's like way on top of the mix. So that's what I think. I think it's sick. Cool. All right, let's move on. Sorry, I'm just like running out of time here. This one's called Freeze. Oh yeah. That sounds like the Doom bass sound. This sounds like a detective sneaking around in a dystopian future, and there's like robots. It's almost like Blade Runner, but like an alternate. There's like not as much technology, almost like Fallout levels of technology where everything still runs on vacuum tubes, but there's like androids that run on vacuum tubes. And then this is like the detective guy that's like searching for somebody who stole vacuum tubes that contain information to, like to blow up the world. Wow. Detective Baby Maker. Wow. That was enjoyable. I really like the whisper responses. Did you record those yourself, or how did? It's time to make a baby. It almost sounds like you're like, oh no. This is wild. I really enjoy this. I don't know what kind of music this is or what the purpose is, but I do love it. I think that the vocal I think that the dialogue, I don't know if I should even call it a vocal, but I think my voice should should come up in, or you should maybe like chill the music out and let the voice. I can't believe I'm giving you like actual feedback on this. Pull all the music back and maybe just have like the bass line or like the groove going, like no more saxophone, and have like the vocal. And then when I'm like, it's time to make a baby, baby, and then like the saxophone comes back in and it goes back into the lead, you know? So that's my legitimate advice on this illegitimate song. Like to me, the vocal thing should have came in earlier, and I should have and it should have said it's time to make a baby, baby, and that's when the saxophone comes in, because like that implies that the babies are being made, you know, and obviously you want the saxophone to be playing while the babies are being made. Okay, that's what I think. Thank you for providing laughter to my life today. Appreciate it. All right, last one of the day. It's called 30 Days. Let's have a listen.
Time goes fast when you're broken. I can't deny. All I know is that I'm hoping that we can make it in time. 30 days and 30 nights, it's all I get. All I need to live for life is giving away this sunset. Time goes fast when you're broken. All I know is that I'm hoping that we can make it in time.
So this is dope. The bit rate is not dope. 128 is, I mean, like, if I was the mayor, I would make it actually like a legitimate crime to export something as a 128. We're not living in 2004 anymore. You don't have to worry about fitting this on a floppy disk. Anyway, with that being said, that's an easy fix. The real problem that I'm having besides that is you submit on my Discord channel. You can type in the link at the bottom of the screen there, but we're all filled up for today. I do it every Friday. You can do it for, oh, wait a minute. I think I don't know if Will is still here. Am I going to be gone on Friday? I feel like next Friday I might not be here. Anyway, I usually do it every Friday, but I think I have a car thing on Friday. Anyway, back to this track. Although you can submit stuff and, you know, help each other on my server, people share stuff and give feedback. It's just, I do this stream every Friday. Anyway, this track, the drop, when it first dropped, I was like, damn, this is sick. But then it stopped. And I'm like, why did it stop? Don't stop. I don't want you to keep going. Why are we stopping the drop? We just got started, you know? So I wouldn't do this like fake out. I don't know. I just don't see the value in it. I feel like it should just keep like rocking. Like if anything, do the fake out at the start maybe, but I'm not even really a big fan of the Raham fake out. It's just so good when it drops, like keep going, you know? And then my next thing is you dropped for like 7 milliseconds and then we're back to like, I know that this isn't a breakdown, but this is like a B drop. This is like okay, we did all the crazy wacky shit. Now it's time to like ride the wave of the groove for a little bit, you know? But it's too soon for that. Like, fuck, this is so good. Keep it going. I would drop like this for like, I don't know, 16 bars or something, and then go to your B drop, which is the more smooth section where a ride would fit in, which is a reference to another track. So yeah, I just like, everything sounded great, you know, besides the 128 kilobit thing. Everything sounded great until the drop happened, and then the drop was sick for 3 seconds and then went away and then came back for 3 seconds and then went away again. So I would like, I'd rock out for longer. You know, this part, you can rock that for a while and people are not going to be upset with you. So keep that for longer.
Time goes fast when
Like this, do you know what I mean? This section feels, it's almost a breakdown. It's still technically kind of the drop section because it has all the big drums and bass and shit, but it's smooth, and it's not like, it's not about the production. It's not about the sound design and the beat. It's about the song and the emotion and the singing, and that stuff is very important too. But I don't think we're ready. We didn't earn that yet. You know, make us earn it.
30 days and 30 nights. It's all I get. All I need to live.
The piano part sounds like the Dr. House theme song. Structure because the song was made on a deadline. Yeah, that's fair. But like, it's not done, right? I hope you didn't submit a fucking 128.
Reflection of my dream. Just wanna know if you like me. Made it smoke the mirrors. Reflected dreams made clearer still. The water sits on beds of steam and shatter pools like broken dreams. And
Where are the vocals from?
time goes fast when you're broken. I can't deny. All I know is that I'm hoping that we can make it in time. 30 days.
Right at. No way. Those are, wow, you did a great job. Yeah, they sound dope. And I understand now that, you know, you're just like hyper focused on them, but they sound great. At this moment right here, I'd probably start having some build up drums, getting our anticipation for that drop going, you know, like start simmering our blood.
Hoping that we can make it in time. 30 days and 30 nights. It's all I get. All I need to live for life is getting away sometimes. Mirrored reflection of my dream.
Yeah, to me, and you know, this is just my opinion, but to me, this right here is the fucking song. Like, in terms of the drop. Wow, if I could remember how to use my mouse. This is the song. we spent so little, and I know I'm beating off a dead horse. I know you understand, and I can stop making the point. But I'm just like, I'm so upset that this part is so sick and yet so short-lived. And I'm assuming this is a bit of a copy paste, which is, you know, not the end of the world. If it is a copy paste, I probably oh, shut up, Will. We know that's not true.
All I know is that I'm hoping. Mirrored reflection.
I don't own any horses or any dead horses, or living horses.
Wanna know if you like me.
But thank you for giving me permission.
Water sits on.
I can give you alive horses. I'm really okay. I'm allergic to horses. Sorry, but thank you. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I think it's honestly a really great track. Don't ever fucking render a 128 again, or I'm going to put you in jail. And make that drop section longer. Cool. All right. Wow, suddenly I feel so small. even though I'm larger on the screen. That's weird. I wonder if that's like a subconscious thing. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for sending me your music and trusting me with playing it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Are you allergic to yourself from the waist? That was good. And also very well timed based on my last based on my last comment. Does the average person even know if they're allergic to horses? That is like a question that I don't think I've ever even considered. I don't know if anybody's considered if the average person, is there any statistic out there? The average person knows that they are or aren't allergic to horses. I don't know the answer to that. They will know if Nick is around. That's very funny, Will. Thank you very much for amping me up. Okay, I love you all. I will see you maybe next week. Will, are we going to be gone on Friday? When are we going to PEI? Anyway, I'll let you know. Either I'll see you next week or I'll see you the week after, or maybe I'll do it on Thursday. Who knows? We are leaving Friday morning. There's your answer. All right. Okay. Goodbye. A car stream. Oh, we could do a car stream on the way there. And then Will be there and he can make his stupid jokes in person. That would be great. They should make a booth where everyone gets to lick a horse to check if they're allergic. So the only thing with that is that the question wasn't whether... So your question wasn't whether the average person is or isn't allergic to horses. Your question was, is the average person aware if they are allergic or not to horses? So I think what we need is a booth that they go in and there's 3 buttons. There's, yes, I am allergic to horses. No, I'm not allergic to horses, or I don't know. So I think that's the booth that we need. So I'll work on that and get back to you. Okay, goodbye.